Need a microphone to work. That would be good, wouldn't it? Let's pop that there then. And now let's turn this on. So we are streaming live. This is a Q&A session on the 1st of November, whereby people can ask questions and, we can help them out, give them advice. We can't technically give them advice. That's not allowed. The regulator doesn't allow that. Quite rightly, because we don't know all the information. So it's just a chance for people to ask questions, anything they're worried about, or then if they want to, they can book in a call and get in touch for anything extra. So, let's see what questions arise. Let's just pop the thing out there. Enlarge that so I can see the questions as they come in. There we go. That is ready. Oh, I've just moved that. That's not helpful. Sorry about that. We need to move that there. There we go. Let's make sure everyone's in frame correctly. And hopefully we can get some questions coming through, and therefore we can help people out. So it's been a crazy couple of days since the budget. A few people have seen impacts on their planning for purchases, particularly people that are perhaps buying a second property. That's where the biggest impacts have been, because you may have heard that they've increased the stamp duty, the surcharge of stamp duty that you pay if you are buying a second property. It was 2%, it's gone up to 5%, so an additional 3% on top of the stamp duty you would normally pay. So if you're a landlord, then for second-time buyer stamp duty, that's exactly it. Oh, second-time buyer. So if you're selling a property and buying a new one, then you just pay the normal rate of stamp duty. You don't pay the surcharge. But anyone who's buying an additional property, so having two at the same time, there is the surcharge. And that's what a few clients have been ringing us and speaking about. Some have pulled out of deals. Some are changing the deals. So it's certainly had an impact. And also, the markets haven't responded too well to the budget. So it looks as though we might be seeing increases in the fixed rate market. Let me just check some data on that for a second. Because fixed rates are largely reliant on swap rates. And they've gone up even more today. Only a tiny bit, though. So fingers crossed, we might not see too bad increases. It's certainly not going to see sort of Liz Truss increases or anything like that, but as it stands, brace yourselves. Any changes to low interest rates? No. What we've been seeing actually in the last couple of weeks is that it's been the lower loan to values that have been increasing their rates, because that's where they decrease them. 4.49. Is it common for solicitors to drag out the process in order to make more money? No, solicitors don't drag out the process to make more money. A lot of them work on a fixed fee basis. The conveyancing side takes time. They don't drag it out on purpose. It just takes time. You've got to remember that when it comes to conveyancing, two lots of solicitors are speaking to each other. They're asking things from either side. It takes time to respond to those and get them back. So, they're not purposely elongating it. Don't worry. Is it better to overpay £150 each month or pay the equivalent of a lump sum at the end of the term? It depends. I mean, generally on mortgages, the interest is calculated daily. So if you make an overpayment today, the balance on which interest is charged tomorrow is going to be less. Now, if you wait till the end of, say, the year, then you would have paid more interest than you could have avoided that. But on the flip side, you might have earned interest in a savings account. But I'm not an IFA, so I can't go into the whole sort of savings account and ISAs and that side of things. All I can advise you about is the mortgages. And if it was me, I'd do it more regular rather than a one lump sum. We'll get I back when current house is sold but annoying. I don't understand that. Why does my mortgage advisor not pay my mortgage? Because it's your mortgage. How much time for searches take place if we buy a house? You need to ask the solicitor that one. They'll be able to advise on that. It takes as long as it takes, unfortunately. You've got to be prepared that the conveyancing side of things does take time. It is slow. It is quiet. You won't hear about anything because quite a lot of the stuff you don't need to be involved in. So therefore, the solicitors just crack on with it. If they were picking up the phone every 5 minutes to update every single client, then it would take even longer. So just let them crack on, let them do it. Buying a house before current one is sold, so stamp duty changes meant we need 5k more. Yeah, it will do, unfortunately. What are your thoughts on the impact of Wednesday's budget on the housing market? Well, I suspect we might be seeing some higher fixed rates. Difficult to quantify at the moment. We've already had a couple of lenders email this morning to say that their rates are going up, but not huge amounts at the moment. Now, it's Christmas anyway, so generally the things slow down at Christmas. But on the flip side of that, we've got buyers who are trying to complete before the stamp duty thresholds change next year. So, I don't know, it's a difficult one to predict. Does having a balance on 0% credit card affect the buy-to-let refinance? So credit card balances, regardless of the interest rate they are, have an impact. Lenders don't look at the rate you're repaying. They generally apply a 3% repayment rate. So yeah, having a credit card on balance will affect affordability. Had our offer through yesterday and it says about having 10 days to accept. What do you need to do? Well, if you don't, are you going through a mortgage broker? If you're going through a mortgage broker, they'll deal with it. Don't worry about it. Recently put money into help to buy ISA after not using it for years. Was able to transfer 1,600 first time. Is that allowed? I'm not a financial advisor. I can't talk about ISAs. What's the discount now for ex-council houses? You need to ask your local council and speak to them as to how long you've been there and how much they'll give you. Are buy-to-let mortgages easier to get than residential? Not necessarily. You've still got to remember that lenders are still going to be lending you potentially hundreds of thousands of pounds, so they want to make sure that it all stacks up. The affordability is worked out in a different way, but it very much depends how you're structuring the deal. I wouldn't say they are easier. It's just a different way we have to go through it. What's the average deposit on a buy-to-let? 25%. What is that noise? There's a lot of noise out there. Can I do transfer of equity from one sibling to another? You can do, just bear in mind there may be stamp duty implications in doing so. Thoughts on bridging loans? They're very good if used correctly. Bridging loans are designed to bridge a short-term gap. They're not a viable long-term source of funding, so you can generally get them for 12 to 24 months. The longer you have them, the more expensive they'll be, but they do serve a purpose if used correctly, such as buying a property that needs extensive renovation, where you might not be able to get a traditional mortgage on it initially. You can use a bridging loan to buy that, do the renovation, and then refinance it with a remortgage to a normal mortgage. Totally sensible thing to do. But yeah, always get proper advice on it. But I like the concept of them as long as they're used correctly. When refinancing, do banks value the property at the same as the estate agents? No. An estate agent's valuation is always going to be on the higher side, shall we say, because they kind of want to wow you with a sum that they could potentially get for your house. Lenders will use accurate data and professional valuers, conveyancers, to actually value a price. Remember, an estate agent isn't actually particularly qualified to value a property. A surveyor, a chartered surveyor is. What are the mortgage rates currently? There's thousands of them. Depends on product, depends on credit file, depends on all different types of things, types of mortgage. Will 106 years remaining on a lease impact the mortgage you were offered? Not 100. You're getting close to the point at which it will start making a difference. 106 years, you've got to think about it. At the end of the mortgage term, how long is going to be left on the lease? The more a lease reduces, the less value the property is worth. So that's where banks and lenders can get a bit nervous because the value starts to fall out the property. So they might not get their security back. What is the best way to pay your mortgage? 30-year term at 1,000 plus a 250 a month or 25. Todd, it's something we discuss with our clients. It's very much a personal thing. So we have a big discussion with our clients about, do you have the mortgage over a longer term to get the initial payments down low and then possibly make overpayments as and when, or do you just want to pay it as quickly as possible and get it done? So it's certainly something we talk about with our clients, not something I can advise about on here because I don't know your full situation and circumstances. Is 12,000 good for a first-time buyer deposit? Very much depends on the property, on the price of the property you're looking to buy. Does it equate to a 5% or a 10%? Ideally, you're going to want 10%. But if that 12,000 equates to 10%, then yeah, it'd be all right. Lender have asked for evidence that working 2 jobs is sustainable long term. Any tips for this? Yes, do not lie. Tell them the truth. If you lie and they found out that subsequently it wasn't, then that's potentially fraudulent. Just be honest and tell them the truth. They are underwriting it. They are assessing the risk. So you just tell them how you do it. And if they're happy with that, then they'll lend you what you need. If not, they won't. So you just need to make sure you're applying to a lender who is happy to take 2 incomes into account. I did my remortgage with Nationwide after your video warning they were going up. Like, oh, nice one. Very good. Should have allowed me to do it, of course, but there you go. Will house prices decrease or increase based on recent stamp duty prices changes? Who knows? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. How many months bank statements do lenders want to see, please? Very much depends on individual lenders and when the application goes in, what they ask for. But as mortgage brokers, we ask for 3 months so we can do a proper assessment and assess your affordability and criteria checking. How long do you think it'll be before rates drop to under 3%? Who says they're going to? I don't necessarily think they will anytime soon. I have the cash to pay my mortgage. Is it better to do or just CK? Not a financial advisor. I can't tell you what's better to do. If you want that kind of advice, I would suggest getting in touch with an IFA and speaking through it, perhaps, different scenarios. Can you get a mortgage with bad credit? We are trying to get our credit higher. It depends what the bad credit is. We need to know the specific things that are giving you bad credit, because there are different lenders out there that have different criteria. So if you can tell us exactly what it is it missed payments, CCJs, defaults, arrears, then we can match that with appropriate lenders. But to say bad credit, we can't really advise because we need to know the specifics. Bank of England announcement tomorrow. What's your predictions? It's not tomorrow, is it? It's on the 7th. But anyway, I suspect we might see a base rate reduction. Do you pay front-loaded interest again if you remortgage with the same provider? No. So, you don't remortgage with the same provider. You do what's called a product transfer. You just select a new product. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Bank of England announcement's on the 7th. Well, it's not going to be tomorrow. Certainly not going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. So it's not going to be a Bank of England announcement tomorrow because tomorrow's Saturday. I'm 20 with an 800 credit score. What sort of mortgage could I get if that's how it works? It's not how it works. Credit score is largely irrelevant. We need to know your whole credit history for the last 6 years. And it's also based upon how much income you have. That's generally how much you're going to be able to borrow. And depends how much deposit you've got, which will dictate what sort of rate you get. Prediction for March on mortgage rates. Crikey, it's November. Who knows? Can I get a mortgage on new limited company if I have 25 to 30% deposit? Yes. Yep, should be able to. Yeah, I assume you're talking about buying a buy-to-let there through what's called an SPV, special purpose vehicle, then yes, you can. Do you think 5% mortgages are a good idea? Yeah. Gets you on the mortgage ladder without having to save 10% deposit. What happens on completion day? Do lenders check your credit report again on that day? They'll check it a few times, probably in the lead up to completion. From exchange through to completion, they can check it as much as they want because they need to make sure that the application is still as what was declared. So yeah, they will check it. What rate should I expect a 50% loan to value? So much variables go into it, you can't say. Do I need to get a credit card to build my credit score? No, credit score is irrelevant. Is Nationwide the only lender that offers 6 times first-time buyers? Yes, pretty much. There are other lenders that offer 6 times, but they are for other specific reasons, such as professionals, chartered accountants, chartered surveyors, pilots, doctors, that kind of thing. Can you get a first-time buyer mortgage on a house with a basement that needs tanking? Well, I don't know. I'd have to look into that a bit more detail. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you. We'd need to do some research into it. But generally, it's nothing. First-time buyers, first-time buyer mortgage. I mean, it's not really a thing. There's products out there that are designed for first-time buyers, but generally, lenders have the same equivalent for non-first-time buyers as well. If your credit gets bounced, is it true that you can't get a mortgage for 6 years? What do you mean if your credit gets bounced? What does that mean? That is it true you can't get a mortgage for 6 years? I'm suspecting whatever it means, it's not true. If you have a low personal credit score of 600 but have enough funds for a deposit, am I okay? Not necessarily, because it depends on what's on your credit history. What's causing the low credit score? Credit score is irrelevant. We need to know the last 6 years' credit history. What's happened? How hard is it to incorporate debt into a mortgage application, or will they not entertain it? So debt consolidation into an application, it's possible. Really depends on the situation, the circumstances. If it's a sort of a remortgage, then it's easier. Will you get a first-time buyer? If you're a first-time buyer, would you be able to do it? Possibly. It all comes down to affordability. So you've got to be able to afford the additional borrowing to do it. Car finance ends in May. If I apply for a mortgage now, will it affect my affordability? It depends when you plan for that mortgage to actually complete. If it's completing after May, then we can ignore it, as long as you're not going to replace it with another one. But generally, yes, it will affect it. It'll just affect how much you could borrow, because that car finance is a committed expenditure which you have to pay each month. So therefore, it will affect how much funds you have available for a mortgage payment. Credit score low to you to miss payment on telephone and wasn't aware of this since had phone, etc. Okay, so has that gone into defaults or anything? Have you got a default in your credit file? No, it doesn't mean you won't be able to get a mortgage for 6 years. Absolutely not. No, we can entertain a default, CCJs, all that kind of stuff. My husband owns our house. Will I get a mortgage to buy another house we want to move to? Assuming you've got a decent credit history and the income to be able to afford it and a deposit, yes, you should be able to. What's the right credit score for a mortgage? There isn't one. Again, credit score is irrelevant. It's the history, your credit history for 6 years. Will rates differ if I have a default? Will rates differ if I have default or CCJ? Defer to what? Is Nationwide a stricter lender when using schemes like Helping Hand? Every lender is strict. You got to remember that they're lending you hundreds of thousands of pounds. They're not just going to give it away. So yeah, they all have their checks. They all have their underwriting to go through. You have to meet those to get the lending. How bad are defaults? Had to resort to step change 3 years ago. About to be paid off soon. Defaults are obviously bad. Anything outside of a clean credit history is bad. It just depends on the details around it as to whether we can match you with a lender who will entertain it as part of their criteria. We do have lenders that will do clients that have got defaults, the CCJs, all that kind of stuff. It just needs to be properly assessed, such as how long ago they were, are they satisfied, how much were they for, what were they for, all that kind of stuff all comes into it. What's the longest fixed term mortgage? Where was that? That's just shot up. I've missed that. I was halfway through reading a... What's the longest fixed term mortgage available, please? 40 years, if you want. With new stamp duty, how much is going to be on a 465 not second home? So that's from April next year. It depends whether you're a first-time buyer or a home mover. What's the average rate? There is no average rate. How can we get around having the 3k help to buy ISA bonus if the property is over threshold? I'm not discussing that. What's the average rate? What's the maximum lenders would like to see on credit cards going for a mortgage around 470? Depends on your income. They don't really like it if you're sort of 60% within your credit limits. That's not going to be great. Again, it depends on the lender. Some lenders don't have loan to income ratios. Others do. So again, depends on your circumstances and the amount of debt we're talking. It'll be your second house, not first time buyer, 465. So it's going to be probably 5% of the amount over 125,000. Living with family, what can I buy for proof of address? Driving license? Well, bank statement, anything. Anything you get sent there, bank statements, credit card statements, driving license, all that kind of stuff. Please can you answer my question above? I haven't seen it. Why they no give time for second time buyer for stamp duty? I don't know what you're asking. What's maximum term for a first time buyer in the late 40s? Depends on how long you've got viable income for. If you've got, say, state pension and private pension, then there are lenders that will view that as viable income. So they can potentially, there are lenders that will go up to the age of 90 odd as long as you've got a viable income. So certainly worth sussing out what you've got. But generally, there are lenders that go up to the age of 75 using employed income. So you can go up to that. Or others will go up to 70 or 68. Again, depends on the lender. Is it soft credit check when doing a dip and a hard check when doing a full application? Yes, it's generally like that. Every lender differs. It's always going to be a hard search at application. There may be one or two lenders that do a hard search at at dip stage as well. Our rate's generally higher if you are after net retained earnings. Mortgages are coming. Not necessarily. No. The rate won't be different because it's just down to how we are proving your income. The rate won't be dictated by that. I get 2.7k, 370 car finance. First time it will affect me. Yeah, it's a committed expenditure. It will affect you. Yeah, it just has to be assessed. It depends how many multiples of income lenders are going to give you as to the impact of it. Because if one was going to offer you 4.5 times your salary, then it's going to impact it more than if one's offering you 5.5 or 6 times. So it just depends on which lenders you go with. It needs to be properly assessed. We can do that for you. I need unencumbered mortgage. I think have proof of transfer, but land registry not updated. Is this a problem? So when you unencumbered mortgage, that means that the property has no lending secured against it at the moment. So that is what we call an unencumbered property. So you're just essentially mortgaging it. You got proof of the transfer, which is good, but the land registry not updated. That could cause an issue because, of course, the solicitors have to update the deeds of the property to show that it's yours to remortgage in the first place, and then that they can change it. So you're going to need the land registry updated. Are you limited significantly in choice of lender when looking for net retained earnings mortgage? Yeah, generally they go off salary and dividends. However, there are some lenders that will go off retained profits and share of retained profits. Which lender has the best rate for a buy to let? There isn't. It's not a one size fits all, unfortunately. It's a whatever the best lender for your situation and individual circumstances are. There isn't a one size fits all. Any mortgage lender is doing a survey on a house. Does this mean my mortgage has been accepted? They won't be doing a survey on the house. They'll be doing a valuation. And it doesn't mean your mortgage has been accepted. It's just another step in the application process. They have to accept that valuation report. It has to be worth what they're lending. And it also depends on the lender as to how far, at what stage they instruct the valuation. So I've got an application in with a lender and the valuation has already been done and the case has only just gone into underwriting. So it does vary. Never default in the past 2 years of finance, paid every month. Would this be a plus? If you've got a clean credit file for the last 6 years, then yeah, it helps, definitely. Definitely. Mm-hmm. Ooh. Is there a 5% deposit available with any mortgage brokers that aren't new build part share mortgages? Is there a 5% deposit available with any mortgage broker that aren't new build part share mortgages? Not sure I understand the question. There's plenty of 5% products out there. Yeah. And every broker will have access to them as long as they are not operating off a restricted panel. But yeah, if you're buying with a 5% deposit, you don't have to be buying a new build or a part share, part rent thing. There's plenty of them. If the Bank of England drops interest rates, how long till relegated on new mortgage products? Fixed rates and base rate are not linked. Also, I work in a bank. Do lenders actually look at profession or just what you earn? Generally, just what you earn. Unless you are what's classed as a professional, but the definition of that is very, very tight. But no, unless you're something like a chartered accountant, chartered surveyor, then the profession doesn't really come into it. Can I get a mortgage if I'm self-employed? I'm going to have 2 years accounts in April. Absolutely, yes. You can get a mortgage on just 1 year's accounts. You are slightly limited in your lender choice, but you absolutely can do. If you've got 2 or more, even better. Single person mortgage rate, why are they so high? They're not. The rate for a couple is the same as the rate for a single person. That doesn't dictate rate. How is it different for a chartered surveyor? They are classed as a professional, so some lenders give them higher multiples of income for lending. How much better rates do you tend to get by going from 90 to 85? It depends on lender and credit history. But, you'll see a slight difference, absolutely. The more deposit you put in and the lower your loan to value, the better the rates become. You got to think that generally, if we're assuming a good credit file, at the moment, rates range from the very late 3%, so 3.8 something, to let's say 5%. So in between that is the range of loan to values and different 2 and 5 year fixed options. First time buyer at 50, will I still be able to get a decent mortgage? Absolutely, yes. Yes, you will. Can I still put an application for right to buy at full discount as eligible, or is it too late? I don't know. I'm looking for details around what's happened. Do band 5 nurses get a higher wage multiplier? No. Will the lender look at every single one of my accounts? I have about 50 mixed credit and debt. Bank accounts, yes. Everything else will be shown on your credit file. So we'll need to see statements for all sort of bank accounts you've got, but everything else we'll be able to see off a credit file. Are lenders accepting 100% commission with 5% deposit? I don't know. I've not done 100% commission. So actually, you're on a zero salary. That is going to be tricky. I'm not sure about that one. Want to buy first house next year. We have circa 45k deposit, looking for 300. Who do we speak to first? Speak to a mortgage broker first. Of course, ideally us. Particularly with first time buyers, we'll talk you through the whole process, who does what, when, and how much things cost. And we also assess how much you can borrow based on your income, how much deposit you've got. If you would like a free first time buyer's guide, then you can get one by going to our website and downloading one from there. Also, if you want to book in a call, you can use the links in a TikTok bio or links through our website. Do brokers have access to any lenders I couldn't find online myself? Absolutely, yes. 100%. Can I add 3k cash to my deposit? You've got to be able to prove where the cash has come from. If I pay myself below income tax threshold and take dividends, how does that impact affordability? So we go off your tax calculations. It's called the SA 302 document, which shows your salary and dividends, which gives us a combined figure, and we go off that. You talk through the process of being a cash buyer. No, because I don't deal with cash buyers. How much can I borrow on 20k salary? Times it by 4.5, very roughly, and then you have to take off any committed expenditure or that kind of stuff. Same with how much can I borrow as a first time buyer? 30k. Um, 30k is right on the cusp. You might be able to times that by 5.5, but then that's just a starting figure. Can I own a house with a friend, or does it have to be part? You can do, yeah. Can you be banned for buying houses on 10% residential mortgage and swapping to buy to let 6 months later? Yes, because that's mortgage fraud, Cameron. And you've just used your name in a public forum, which a lot of lenders follow. So, well done. That is mortgage fraud. Renting out a property on a residential property is not allowed unless you have consent to let from the lender. If you don't and you rent it out, it's mortgage fraud. They will repossess the property and put markers all over your name, so you will struggle to ever get credit again. Could you buy with a 5% deposit even if you have a car and finance? Yeah, assuming that the affordability stacks up. Yeah. Are you a free broker? Absolutely not. No. Is that helpful? We have so many questions. Hard to know where to start. No worries, Lizzie. It's exactly like that. You're not taught this stuff. So, yeah. Just feel free to book in a call if you want to talk about it. We'll talk you through the whole process, and, what goes into it as and when, just to give you some heads up. Is 17,000 a good deposit for a 170 property? Yeah, it's 10%. Absolutely. You'll have a good choice of lenders. Also, if there's any sort of adverse credit, then you actually have access to lenders who will accommodate that. Can I convert residential mortgage to a buy-to-let and rent to family? Yeah, as long as you've got 25% equity in there or able to make up the 25% equity, you can do that. Do you need a broker to get 6 times nationwide mortgage? You're going to struggle to actually get 6 times multiplied through Nationwide. How do you know Nationwide are the most appropriate lender for your needs? How do you know they'll accept your application? You can do it if you want. Are there many lenders that do net profits and salary? There's a few, yep. I have no chain. Do you know an estimate for completion? I don't. You're best to ask your conveyancing solicitor on that one. They will be best placed. How many years are required for someone on a tier 2 work visa to be accepted for a mortgage, please? 12 months residency in the UK. Can you put down any amount as your deposit as long as it's 10%? You can put any amount of 5% and up. Generally, the more deposit you put down, the better. It hasn't got to be in 5 or 10% increments. That's just dictates what kind of rates you get, because they're kind of banded. But you can put down any figure you want, because if you think about it, the more deposit you put down, the less you're going to have to borrow. So yeah, whatever you want to put down as a deposit is absolutely fine. It just will then fit into a bracket for the rate. Is there different mortgages if you're putting a 30% deposit? So not a different mortgage, it would just be a different loan to value, which then comes with a different rate. Due to the budget, do you think now is a good time to buy? Well, if you wait until after the 1st of April next year, you're going to be paying more stamp duty, more likely. So if you're a first-time buyer, you probably want to crack on with it now to save yourself some money. Rates are what they are. I mean, if you're going to forever wait for the perfect rate, you could be waiting a very long time. So it just comes down to your own situation. I don't think you can really get reliable advice as to is now the right time to buy. It's down to you. Are you motivated to buy? Do you have the deposit sorted? Can you afford mortgage repayments? Don't listen to the noise. Just do what you need to do. When do you think rates will start coming down? We have 4 years left at 5.2. Will we get better? I don't know your full circumstances, so I can't say whether you'll get better. But sounds like we're assuming that rates are going to come down there. Who's saying that they're going to come down? If we start the process now, can we complete before April 25? Possibly, as long as you do it now and you're quick. Yeah. We put 60% deposit down, got 3.7 rates. Yeah, that's the best you're going to get at the moment. In fact, I think that may have even gone now. But yeah, that was the best rate we had. Self-employed, is it past 4 years worth of wages on average? No, it's years of accounts we need. We need at least 1 year's accounts. The more the better. So for self-employed, it's exactly the same mortgage type. It's just when it comes to proving income, we go off your annual accounts and tax returns and that kind of thing. There are lenders who will do it on 1 year's worth of accounts, but if you've got 2 or more, then you get a greater choice of lenders. What would 200 monthly overpayment do on a mortgage? Make much difference? Absolutely. Go on the Money Saving Expert mortgage overpayment calculator and have a look. You'd be surprised. I booked a call with you, but it got moved to a colleague. Yes, I'm afraid things happen. What are you doing?
I finished my build.
Unfortunately, I have a very dynamic diary, so things have to get moved along. Nothing wrong with Joe, though. Joe's perfectly capable. He has my full backing. I'm only 21, and I've done this all alone. It's so stressful. Eva, why didn't you come to us? Why do it on your own? Are you confident you've actually got the right mortgage? Do mortgage providers look at 3 months or 6 months bank statements? 3 months generally. Half term, yeah, exactly. Just got disturbed just now. Will Barclays keep my current raw mortgage rates or follow new rates during extension? When your rate expires, you then get a new rate. You can't extend a current rate. Went to mortgage broker, then found you. I see. I'll let you off. Eva. Next time, come to us. Are interest rates going down on the 7th? You are specifically speaking about the Bank of England base rate there, and I think it might do. But let's remember, base rate and fixed rates are not linked. So don't expect your fixed rates to drop. Well, certainly if you're in a fixed rate, it's going to remain fixed. But don't expect new business or remortgage rates to drop if the base rate does decrease. What's the difference between soft and hard credit searches? Soft is just a very... soft doesn't affect your credit file, doesn't really show up. A hard search will put a mark on your file to show that a hard search has been done and is just there for other lenders to see. So if you're doing multiple searches, hard searches, then lenders will start to think, what's going on here? My daughter's going to contact you. Should she send you an email? She can send an email, absolutely, or just book straight in using the links on the website or the TikTok bio, absolutely. What does affect the rates offered, please? Swap rates. So fixed rates generally go off what's called swap rates, and they are the rates at which the lenders themselves borrow the money. So say, for example, we're talking a 5-year fixed. A lender will then go and borrow that money. Let's see what the rate is at the moment for a 5-year fixed on the swap rates. Oh, good news, they've gone down a tiny bit. So right now, a lender can borrow money for 5 years at 4.009%. Now, they then put a bit of margin on that. So you might be getting something like a 4.2. So they make a bit of profit and you get your money. So it's fixed rates largely. My mortgage will be accepted over the next few days. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. What's there to be scared about? You're going to get your mortgage. You've got it at a good rate. And to be honest, if you're a first-time buyer with a 40% deposit, you've done very well there. Nice one. I'm buying with my wife. Do lenders combine our income when checking affordability? Yes, if you're both on the application, yes. How do I release equity from my current home? Confused about the situation. It will be by additional borrowing. You have to be able to afford any additional borrowing. It will be assessed. It will be checked. But that's how you do it. Can I purchase my parents' house for less than market value and use the difference as a deposit? Yes, you can. That's called a concessionary purchase. You need to find a lender that's happy to use just that as a deposit. Some might want you to put in an amount yourself. It also depends on the amount of discount you're going to get from the market rate as to how much deposit that will actually count as. We have done full renovation and have completed half the work, but want remortgage for an extension. How? So you then have to apply for a remortgage and get it valued and go off that. have some additional borrowing for home improvements. You might want to get a bridging loan to fund the additional work and the current mortgage, and then remortgage once it's all done. Best 10-year fixed rate. I don't know your circumstances, so I couldn't possibly tell. Would you recommend shared ownership? If it's your only option, yes. Look carefully at it though. Three main costs: purchase, mortgage, rent, and service charge. Service charge often catches people out because it goes up and up and up each year. So do it. Do the research, sorry. If you was taking a mortgage now with a current rate, would you recommend fixed or variable rate? My situation is going to be very different to yours. It's a personal choice. It's a personal situation. Your mortgage broker, advisor, exactly the same thing, should be talking to you about it and discussing your needs and then advising what's going to be the best course of action for you. Buying a house cash. I'm 53. Can I release equity from it as have no family to leave it to? If you want to secure a mortgage against your property, you can do. Right, there's a silly question. £430,000 mortgage. How much repayment would be? Really? Do you want to give me the rest of the information we'd need to work that out? Such as how long it's over, what rate it is, what type of product it is, what type of... is it residential? Is it buy-to-let? Can you use both lifetime ISA and Help to Buy ISA towards mortgage deposit? Yeah, I think so. 4:30 if you want to pay in one. Is Caroline top answer. Caroline wins the top answer today. I like that. I like that. Any tips for when to not to have a second person on a mortgage with previous bad credit? I don't really know what you're asking. If someone's got bad credit, the application will be based off the bad credit. So it's, you know, there's no real way to avoid it if they're going on the application. How long after searches are complete does exchange normally happen? You need to ask your solicitor that one. What's best bank account to have safer deposit? There isn't a best bank account. You can make use of lifetime ISAs. That's as far as I'm allowed to talk on that topic. PhD with 12 months left, but boyfriend is a high earner, but not enough to cover solo. Will it work? You can only, if you want to, if it doesn't work on one salary and you've got no other salary to add, it won't work, unfortunately. I've been on an unarranged overdraft before, but it doesn't appear on my credit file report. Is that normal? It depends on the bank, I suppose. If they've not recorded it as anything, are you sure it doesn't show on your bank account? You need I know what's going on here. It's probably not showing on the one credit referencing agency you've used. Get a check my file report and you'll probably find it showing on there. You can get a free check my file report by using a link in my TikTok bio where you can get a free one. How long after your search is... I've answered that already. You need to speak to your solicitor, Kyle. Can my landlord sell me the house at a lower price so I don't have to give a deposit? Yes. Again, that's called a concessionary purchase. Hopefully the deposit, the difference in the market value to what you're buying it at can be used as a deposit. Have you ever had a client contested valuation, a lender's valued at property, and what happened? Yes, I have. They had to pay for their own valuation, but the lender still said no. Do you have any information on new right to buy? No. We don't do a lot of right to buy. I've been living in my overdraft for a while, but plan to pay it off soon. Would this go against me? It will go against you if you're still in it when you apply. If someone has a CCJ set aside and paid in full, will it still have bad impact on the application? Yes, because that CCJ will show for 6 years on your credit file. As time goes on, it will have less of an impact, but yeah, it's still visible for 6 years, so it will all need to be declared on the mortgage application. And yes, it will have an impact then. PhD pays a salary, but not sure if considered valid income by lenders. Is it it's not really gonna. Whatever CCJ is only 3 months left. It'll still show on the credit file. It's still showing on the credit file. It will still have an impact. Would me and my partner be able to have 5 times mortgage on 100k salary as first-time buyers? Assuming you've got a good credit file, yeah, I'd have thought so. I've saved 1,500 for this and looking at getting a mortgage in principle. Is that bad? 1,500, if that's your deposit, you're going to be looking at very low value houses. It's what it equates to, whether it's 5% or 10%. But can you apply and get a mortgage with CCJ? Potentially, it just depends on the situation with it. You want to make sure you're using a broker that's got whole of market access so that they can match it to lenders that will accommodate that. But yeah, there are lenders out there who will accommodate CCJs. Just depends on more detail around them as to which lenders you go to. No worries, you are welcome. How does stamp duty work? First time buyer but based on budget. Feel like I need to know. Stamp duty, you pay it on completion and it's a percentage of the house purchase price. Currently, for first time buyers, you can buy a house up to £425,000 and pay no stamp duty. However, from the 1st of April next year, that threshold is decreasing to 300,000. So you can buy a house up to 300,000 and pay no stamp duty, or you will start paying 5% on the portion above 300,000. Me and my husband have bad credit. Can we still get a mortgage? We earn 50,000 a year. I don't know, because I need to know the specifics of when you say bad credit. What is the bad credit? Credit score is irrelevant. We need to know the credit history for the last 6 years. What's causing the bad credit? Once we know that, then we can see what the likelihood is of getting a lender to accept it. Had a clean record for 6 years, just about to get a mortgage, and can see I have missed payment. So you've not had a clean credit for 6 years. How much is current stamp duty fees for a 250 house? If you're a first time buyer, there's nothing. The solicitor to do property searches in hand now or hold off until... Don't understand that question. Is there any way to avoid extra surcharge on second homes? No. What should you be looking for when looking for mortgage brokers? Are there certain accreditations? Every mortgage broker should be qualified, such as CMAP or CII. They will be. Don't worry about that, because to be licensed and trading, that would have all been checked out. One of the big things you need to look for is that they've got access to the whole of the market, so they're not operating off a restricted panel. But we tick all those boxes, so welcome. Come in. Feel free to book in a call. Are interest rates going up? I think we might see a little bit of increase due to... Oh, mind you, swap rates have turned a corner. They seem to be coming down a little bit. It's just a little dance that is going on at the moment. Some days they're up, some days they're down. Unfortunately, if you're going to wait for the perfect rate, you could be waiting a long time. So there has to come a point where you kind of just have to accept the rates are what they are and go with it. Paid off credit card. Worth keeping a credit card open with zero debt? Close it off. If you're not going to need it, close it off. How much does a missed payment affect mortgage? Currently trying to resolve it. It will have an impact. There are some lenders that won't tolerate it. But if it's just a one missed payment that was rectified very quickly, we'll certainly be able to place it. It's just we'd have to do a little bit of research on the lenders that would do it. I mean, you might... It also largely depends on the type of mortgage you're going for. If you're going for a 5% deposit mortgage, for example, it could cause quite an issue because lenders, they want it to be really quite clean for 95% mortgages. If you've got 10% deposit, then you'll have a fine choice to be able to go to. So, yeah, you should be all right. Will I be able to get a mortgage with an active DMP? Yes, you can. You do have options. As long as it's been going for 12 months and you've had no issues with the repayments, then there are lenders that will do it. I have a freehold house. Is getting more mortgage to buy a bigger house easy? Plan to sell the house by... I wouldn't... asking if something's easy is a bit of a subjective thing because it depends what your situation is, depends how much you earn. If you can afford the additional borrowing, then yeah, you can do that. Would there be lenders out there that will accept someone with a CCJ? Yes. Yes, there are. Absolutely. Yeah. What's our fee? Our fee is $349. I think that's very reasonable. When would the missed payment affect? Would it be when doing a dip or at full application? Both. Because a dip, they're looking at a credit file then, they're doing a soft credit check, so it will probably flag up then. So likelihood it will flag up then, but certainly at full application as well. My IVA finished a year ago. Can I get a mortgage? Yes. How to request a desk valuation at the end of interest-only mortgage term? You can't request a desk valuation. It's the type you are given the type of valuation that lenders do. CCJ drop off as 6 years. Remember that. Everything drops off the credit file after 6 years. Remember that. How do you decide which mortgage broker to use? There are so many. You just come to us, Jay. Book in a call and have a chat. Feel free. I would speak to them. All honesty. The one thing two things. Are you comfortable with their fee? And do they have access to the whole of the mortgage market? If those two cases go, and do you get on with them? Feel free to book in a call and have a chat with us. See what you like. Go with it. Is there a student mortgage available? What do you mean by student mortgage? What are you looking to do? Do you get commission from the providers? Yes, every mortgage broker does. How much does gambling prevent a mortgage? It depends on the lender how they view it. If it's serious amounts, then it will affect it. What I would say is just don't gamble 3 months before you want to put in a mortgage application, because then it won't be showing on your bank statements and it wouldn't be an issue. If you're unable to do that, then it kind of answers the question as to how much is a problem. Just asking is no, some brokers. Yeah, so some brokers, it's just a different business model. Some don't charge a fee. They rely on doing so much work and just churning it through as quickly as possible. Fine. Whereas brokers that charge a fee are able to manage the amount of work they take on, not have to take on so much to make the numbers stack up. I tell our clients it's a paid-for service, so you can expect a paid-for service. There are certain big name mortgage brokers that don't charge a fee, and the second your application comes up with a bit of difficulty, they don't want to know. So, it's up to you. Can you get a mortgage being self-employed and just started working? No, unfortunately not. You're going to need at least 12 months history being self-employed. So we need 1 year's accounts and tax returns done. When you check your own credit file, does it show as a hard search? No. So the credit referencing agencies, that's not hard searches. What's the best option after my 2 years fixed rate finish if I carry on with payments? Well, the worst option is to do absolutely nothing. So at the end of your mortgage term, so if you're on a fixed term deal, at the end of that, be it 2, 5, 7 years, at the end of that, you've got choices. You either remortgage to a new lender, you do a product transfer with the existing lender and move to a new product, or you pay up and get rid of it. The worst thing to do is nothing, because you will default on the lender's standard variable rate, and they tend to be pretty huge. So the worst thing to do at the end of your mortgage term is nothing. 6 months before your deal ends, get in touch with the mortgage broker and they will assess all your options from remortgaging, product transfers, and tell you what's the best solution for you. Do not leave it and do nothing. It will cost you a lot of money. Can my partner apply for a mortgage alone and then add me as my credit score is not good? No, because if you can't go on it in the first place, you're not going to be able to go on it later because your credit file clearly doesn't suit the lender's criteria. Me and my wife are about to do right to buy due to changes coming the 21st. Okay, I don't know about right to buy. If they see 3 months banks and first month also living in overdraft but now closed after that, yeah, that'll be all right. We've been offered a bank staff discount of 3.67 with 10% deposit. but 5 years. Unsure about it, right? What lenders look at 1 year earnings and not 2 or 3? Depends on your situation. Can I get out of a 5 year fixed after year 1? You can do, but you'll have to pay the early repayment charges, and it's really not going to be worth it. What is the salary for a 500k house, 150k? You can't say. I'm guessing you don't because you've not answered. That's the first time I've seen any question from you. Calm down. Can you get a mortgage on universal credit? Yes, there are lenders that take universal credit as income. There are. Can you get a mortgage on maternity leave? Yes, yes you can. They will want to know what your intentions are post maternity leave. So what you're going to go back to work on. And yeah, you should be right. Can you bend the rules? Absolutely not. What's the minimum mortgage amount? There isn't one. There are lenders that don't have minimum amounts. In your opinion, fix now or wait? Why? Right, if you're not fit, what are you waiting for, first of all? And it depends on your situation. If you've come out of your deal, you're probably on the SVR, which is massive, and you're paying a lot of money. So I'm going to sign for 2 year fixed mortgage advisor is saying to wait till next week. I don't know why, because if you agree a rate now, your mortgage advisor will be able to change it if rates go down. So that's crappy advice in my opinion. How far can you take mortgage on in years? Up to what age? Ollie, good question. Very much depends on how long you've got viable income for. There are lenders who will take employed income up to the age of 75. But if you've got other income, such as a private pension, a buy-to-let income, then there are lenders who will go to the age of 90 odd. So yeah, just depends on viable income and how long you've got it for. What's the best way to have your bank statements? Will like Christmas shopping affect your mortgage? No. Christmas shopping will be fine. Obviously, it's a hot topic, which is coming up now. But yeah, Christmas shopping will be all right. They're looking for the committed expenditure mainly. So credit card repayments. Ooh, that's a point. Spending on credit cards over Christmas could cause an issue. Because if you've put an application in now and say you said the balance was 100 quid, and then over Christmas you whack it all on the credit card and 3 months down the line it's now a couple of grand, it's going to be different. So be careful. I'd say be careful. What do you think the interest will look like next year? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm having for dinner tonight. It's so difficult to predict. We're in such a... Is volatile too much of a strong word? It's so changeable at the moment. It's just near impossible to predict. I would hope they're not too dissimilar as to what we have now, in all honesty. 30k, would you choose loan or a mortgage for that? I'm not a financial advisor, I can't tell you that. Can I get a mortgage if I've just started a new job? Yes. How long after return to UK can I get a mortgage? I don't know. It depends on your situation. I need a lot more information than that. Let me check something. Oh dear. Lenders emailing here. Product withdrawal. Withdrawal of product. Crikey, yep. There's some change going on at the moment. First time buyer, get a mortgage for a buy to rent house. It's possible, Jordan. Yes, you can. You can be a first time buyer, first time landlord. Just bear in mind the application will be based on you as if you were just buying a residential. But yes, apart from 3 months pay slips, do you need anything else for agreement in principle? 3 months bank statements, ID, credit file, proof of deposit. That's what we're going to be asking to see for that. But don't worry, because if you book in a call with us after the initial call, we send you an email with a list of documents that we would need from you. Will lenders consider credit card debt that would be cleared by releasing some equity when moving homes? We can tick that it will be repaid at completion, so therefore it can be ignored from the affordability calculations. Is it hard to obtain a Help to Buy scheme or find shared equity? Help to Buy scheme, you can't get it now. It's stopped. Shared equity, with debt history, crikey. Shared equity, shared ownership, they're difficult to get anyway. There's such competition for them. Do lenders allow product transfers from interest only to repayment at the end of the interest only term? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's just changing your repayment type. So going from interest only to repayment, very straightforward. You do have to be able to afford it. But going from repayment to interest only is the more difficult way around to do it. Can you pull out equity of a property to buy a second house? You can do, as long as you can afford the additional borrowing. Yep, that's a legitimate reason that lenders will allow you to take some equity out or have additional borrowing. What if you have pay rise on new job and previous job had low income? How long will I have to wait? So you'll be able to show a signed employment contract, or just wait till you get your first pay slip. Change job with same income. Will that change affect mortgage process? It could well do, yes. The golden rule is not to do anything that could jeopardize your application once it's in. So don't take anything on credit. Don't spend on credit cards. Don't change jobs until completion of the whole process. Changing jobs, even though it's still on the same money, could have an impact because the lender might want to see a history in the same job role. Some lenders might not be happy if you're in a probation period. So changing jobs can cause issues with an application. Self-employed, do they total finances before tax or after tax when they get mortgage? So we go off your SA 302, which will be your gross figures. Does a broker fill out a mortgage application? Yes. I have a loan that my partner does not know about. Yes, we fill out all applications. However, the application form needs to be sent to you. I would suggest not hiding anything from partners. There have been occasions where we've had to have difficult conversations. But there you go. Would you clear an arranged overdraft for 250 before AIP? Or is it before application? I do it before application. That's fine. 250 quid, it's not going to end the world. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just get rid of it before your application goes in. That should be all right. Crikey, we've been going for over an hour now. If anyone wants to get in touch, then do feel free to send a DM with your name, number and email address, and someone will get back to you to book in a call. Or you can book a call straight in using the links in the TikTok bio or through the website. Also, through the website, you can get a free first-time buyer's guide. So do that. Go and get one of those. Through the TikTok bio, you can get that as well as a free Check My File credit report, which is very useful. So yeah, it's all out there for you. Would I say 4.64 is a good rate? I don't know, because I don't know your situation and your circumstances. Is Check My File soft credit? Yeah, it's just another credit referencing or reporting system, but it's the best one because it gives you a view across Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Getting a report will not be a credit check. Can I sell my car on? Can I sell my car? My car finance finishes 2 years ago. I don't understand what the question is. Do credit cards, approximately 2,000 and 5,000 limits, usually affect application? Yeah, if you've got an outstanding credit card balance, that will be viewed as a committed expenditure, so will therefore affect your affordability. My fixed term of 2 years ended 1 year ago, and what's your options now, and can I still do a product transfer? Right, I suspect you've... Please get in touch ASAP because I fear you're paying far too much money. Yeah, you should have options. Please get in touch. I've got a big fee. You're paying too much money there. If your lender approves a mortgage offer, how long is it valid for? Generally about 6 months, but it should be on the offer as to how long it's been valid for. Do you need the money up front for stamp duty or can you absorb it into your mortgage? No, you can't add stamp duty to the mortgage. So best to clear all credit cards before applying. I would, Alice. Yes, that would be the best option, but it's relative. It depends on your income. If you've got a massive income, then a 2,000 credit card debt isn't going to be the end of the world. So it just depends on a lot of things. You can still get mortgages with credit cards, loans, cars on finance. It just affects your affordability. So get in touch. We'll assess it for you. 4 credit cards, 3 balance, but 25k available. Should I cancel? Yeah, close them off. Close them off. If you're not using them, close them off. I am paying way too much, but I'm not working at the moment. So what would you? I would suggest booking a call ASAP because you're paying too much, and we'll fix that for you. I got a 4k limit credit card. I got a mortgage offer. Should I close for it? Do it. If you're not using the credit card, close it off. Hoping for Halifax decreased rates. I fear you're going to be disappointed. What's the best way to improve your credit score? Credit score is irrelevant. If it comes to mortgages, credit score is irrelevant. It's off the content of your credit file that we go off. No worries, Alice. Thank you for your questions. Don't forget to follow and give us some likes. That would be great. Oh, we've had 3,500 likes. That's cool. Thank you very much. Is it good to start using a credit card and paying it off in full every month? What for? There's a danger that if you don't pay it off, you're going to amass a balance. So there's no actual necessity to have a credit card. Like I said, with mortgage applications, it's off the content of the credit history, your credit file. So, no need. Car lease ends about the time of remortgage. I hope it won't affect app. If it ends before, then good. If it ends after, it will still need to be in conversation. Will property prices go up or down because of the new budget? I don't know. At the moment, there's so many. It's not just the budget that's going to affect it. There's other things like people wanting to buy before stamp duty increases. The general slowdown that we get around Christmas. So there's lots of other things that will go into it other than just the budget. I'm completing today. Hopefully, yes, it's Friday. It's completion day. Friday is generally the day for completions. What is stamp duty? It's a tax you pay when you purchase a property. Can you still do product transfer 1 year after my fixed terms has expired? Depends on the lender. Depends what's available to you. That's why I'm saying get in touch, please, because we need to sort that. Stamp duty increased already. Only for second home purchases, additional property purchases. There are further changes happening on the 1st of April next year. Why is the first mortgage payment higher than the others? I say, think of it like when you take a mobile phone contract out. They charge you for a month and a bit. So that's why the first one's always higher. So if you complete on the 5th and your mortgage company, your lender, bills on, say, the 30th, during the 5th and the 30th, you will have accrued interest. So therefore, they add it on to the first payment. Crudely, awfully explained, I'm afraid. Someone's spamming the comments. We don't like that, so they can be muted. Sorry about that. Due our first remortgage next year. Are we able to use the money from the house for extension? Possibly, Vicky. Possibly. Depends how much equity you've got in there, and depends whether you can afford the additional borrowing. But yeah, get in touch with the mortgage broker 6 months before, and they will assess it for you. I'm on a work permit. My salary is 31,000. Did I get them? It needs to be properly looked at. I can't tell you on that basic bit of information. Does the first mortgage payment come out day of completion? No, it can be up to a month after. Your lender will write to you as to when they're going to take it and how much it's going to be, but it generally won't be on day of completion, no. Oh. Right, shall we call it a day? 2 o'clock, maybe we will. I took a mortgage out yesterday. It was the most stressful thing ever. Charlie, should have come to us. The whole ethos of Mellow is to take the stress out of it for you. We take the stress out of it for you. How to get a mortgage for a Madagascan property while living in the UK. Good luck with that. What is the minimum salary lenders accept? There isn't a minimum salary because the lending you can achieve is based on your salary. So, you know, it's a multiplication of your salary. How long does a full mortgage app roughly take? The application? Are you advising fixed term still? Don't quite know what you mean. Are you advising fixed term still? Do you take clients anywhere in the UK? Absolutely. Yes, we do. How is it called as a lender? They're good. Yeah, fine. Took 3 hours. We can put an application through in under an hour. That's putting all the information in. Any self-cert lenders? Of course not. Do Klarna payments affect your mortgage applications? Potentially, yes. If you have extensive use of Klarna, some lenders don't like it. They see it as a bit of, not financial irresponsibility, but they generally don't like it. If you have a Klarna account open during the time of a mortgage application completion, then it will affect your affordability. Where are you based? Can you do a face-to-face appointment? So I'm based in Bristol. We've got someone based in Salisbury, Sheffield, not Chesham. Yeah, it might be Chesham. Yeah, Chesham. But everything's done remotely. We can do it face-to-face on video. Do you think Barclays will put up interest rates on fixes? Potentially, yeah. Is it pointless to get in touch if I'm between jobs at the Mo? My husband... No, Alice will talk to you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. 3 neighbours sold for 40k more than we bought ours for. Will that work in our favour for remortgage? Yeah, I'd have thought so. Yeah, because then it suggests that, you know, prices are clearly increased, and that sales data will feed through eventually. So that will show on valuations. No worries, Alice. You are welcome. Do you have to pay stamp duty on limited company on second, third properties? Yes, you do. You do. How long does it take to do a dip? Not long. Not long. Half an hour. My fix runs out on the 31st of March. Would you fix now or wait to see a drop? I would fix now because that will protect you from any further increases. But if you use a good broker, such as ourselves, we will lower the rate if the rates decrease. So you've got nothing to lose, but a lot to protect yourself against. Is 4.6 a good rate 2-year fix? I don't know. Depends on your situation. Made an offer as a first-time buyer and they said they have a higher offer but in chain and want us to increase if we can. Of course, they don't listen to a word the estate agent says. Up to you what you do there. It could be estate agent lies. So I don't know. Don't overstretch yourself and only offer what you are comfortable offering. Okay? Please don't stress yourself. Mortgage rates going up, potentially. Kind of get a mortgage bad credit, no CCJs or defaults. So I need to know what the bad credit is. We need to know your whole credit history for the last 6 years. And then we can match you with appropriate lenders. So, yeah, just depends what it is. I would suggest getting a check my file report. There is a link in my bio for a free one. And then you will see exactly what your credit history has been for the last 6 years. And that's what lenders look at. My estate agent said she wouldn't budge, but I kept a poker face and got it 6k. Exactly, Charlie. That's the thing. That is the thing. Estate agents need to sell that house for as much as they can so they can get a bigger commission payout. So remember that. You stick to your guns. You're the one in the power seat, remember. That you're not trying to sell a property. There are others out there for you. So if it doesn't stack up for you on the numbers, if you're not comfortable with it, walk away. You've not lost anything. And as Charlie said there, they may crumble. Call their bluff. What about 10% deposit? 180 to borrow, roughly. What about it? 10% deposit would be 18 grand. Unlimited company, what's the lowest deposit required? 25%? Because that's on a buy-to-let purchase. So you're looking at 25% deposit. Right then, dear mortgage fans. If you're not following already, make sure you do. Because I go live regularly. I put videos up, some content, which may be of interest to you and helpful. Also, you've then got details so you can get in touch with us. So, you know, make sure you're following so you don't miss out on any of that. Let me tell you what you can find on our website. You can find a free first-time buyer's guide, which you can download. You can find a way to get in touch with us. You can find a link to book a call straight into our diaries, and one of us will give you a call. In the TikTok bio, you can find a link to a free Check My File report, which is very useful. You can also find a link to booking a call with us. You can also find a link to the First Time Buyer's Guide, and you can also find a link to the website. And also our phone number and email address are up there. So please do get in touch if we can help with anything at all. But make sure you follow. I thank you for joining me today, asking your questions. But I'm going to have to wrap it up because I've got things to be getting on with. So thanks for your questions, mortgage fans. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday. And yeah, make sure you follow so that you don't miss out any more content. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Where's the